So while I can't necessarily tell you what an individual case is worth from the outset of a case, because we don't have all of the facts available that we need to properly value the case, what I can tell you is typically the insurance company is going to pay about 40 to 60% of what they think the exposure on your case is to them. And so that means, what are you going to cost them in future benefits for medical and lost wage benefits, what we call indemnity and workers' comp. And the reality is, that's not rocket science. That's what we eat, sleep, and breathe in workers' comp. Every single case involves those benefits. Those are the only two classifications of benefits that you can get in workers' comp: medical and indemnity. So we sit down with a piece of paper and we go through your medical records, and we look at what is being forecasted in those medical records. Are doctors recommending surgery for you? If so, how much is that anticipated to cost the insurance company? How long are you going to be out of work after that while you're recovering initially? How long will you then be on light duty while you continue to recover from those injuries? Are there additional procedures that you may need because of that procedure, or that you need independent of that, but they have to be done at a different time because you need to recover from one before you can have the next? So we'll sit down, we'll walk through all of that. And as long as the exposure that we come up with is fair, meaning we're not just assuming that you're going to have a situation where you had surgery and there's an infection that develops. That's certainly a possibility. But the insurance company is not going to consider that when they're looking at their exposure. They're not looking at what's possible. They're looking at what's probable. What are you most likely going to cost them? And so if we sit down and we do that fairly and objectively, then we should be able to tell you what your case is worth, what range it's worth. And as long as we've done it fairly, it should be pretty easy to convince the insurance company that that range is a fair number. And in the end, as long as both parties are being fair, you should be able to settle your case. And again, the majority of cases settle as long as the parties are willing to explore settlement. If they're not, then it's kind of impossible. You can't get past go, so to speak. But if the parties are willing to have a conversation and they're willing to look at things fairly and objectively, it's not rocket science. It's important to me that clients become friends. I want them to feel like they had somebody in their corner. I want them to feel as though somebody explained the process to them and guided them through that process. There's nothing worse than having a client who says, they had a past experience with a lawyer and they thought all lawyers were jerks because they could never get that lawyer on the phone. They were always only dealing with paralegals. That is not how I run my practice. I want people to have access to me within reason. Of course, I have multiple clients and I'm in events and things like that, and I can't always be available, but they certainly have access to me. They have access to my paralegal. If they can't get the answers that they need from the paralegal, or if they just need to talk to me, they have direct access to me, and we will work out any kind of problem involving the case together, because in the end, I want to be able to shake their hand, and I want them to, say hi to me when they see me at the grocery store. I feel very blessed that I have the education and the background that I have to be able to help people through these difficult times in their lives. And that, in the end, that's what it's about, is for me to be able to do that for those people, be able to do good by them, good by me. I am running a business, of course, but I want them to make informed decisions. And in the end, as long as I can look myself in the mirror and say I guided them through that to the best of my ability, they were able to make an informed decision. Hopefully they've got some closure from resolving their case if it settles. Again, most do. And they're able to move on with their life, then that's a win-win for me.